Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm a little bit sick. Sorry, I'm genuinely sick. I have a bit of cough, sore throat. I've also gone partially deaf in both of my ears due to an ear infection, so I can't really hear very well. I hope I'm not screaming, although it would probably help me because I do speak too quietly. Also, my housemate has a bandmate over and they're recording vocals, so if you hear screaming at some point, that's what that is. I can't really hear it, so apologies for that. I've also lost a nail. It's a shambles around here, it really is. Also, I've just noticed my fringe kind of looks like Lydia Dietz from Beetlejuice, and that's not even on purpose. I'm just cool like that. So what I want to talk about today, I want to do a recap of the HC reading challenge that I did over October, and it went pretty well. I did say in that video, I had to remind myself what I said, that if I got even half the books read that I wanted to, that would be pretty good, and I was correct in that. So I will start with the books I didn't actually get around to. Physical ones that I didn't get around to were a couple of the big ones. So I did actually start, I read the first chapter of The Stand, but I started reading it immediately after finishing Ash, which if you watched my previous video, you know my feelings on that book. And this one, in the intro, he actually says that this is a special edition where they put in a load of scenes that they initially had cut out from the book. So I was just like, is this going to be the exact same bloody thing? So I wasn't immediately hooked on this, but I have started it, so I shall continue with that monstrosity. Also, didn't get around to The Ruins by Scott Smith yet, but I do want to get around to this soon. This is about 500 pages. I didn't read The Haunted Vagina yet because my friend actually borrowed it, but it's only less than 100 pages I think, so I'll definitely get that done this week. And the other one I didn't get to was Code Red by R. Sinclair Regina, only because when I was downloading the ebooks that I needed for this list, I downloaded Hey Bill by Priscilla Bettis and Lucy by Alan Aspinall and Crawl by Edward Lorne and also On Crow by Cameron Chaney. When I was going through the ones I needed to download, I just completely forgot about that, and I didn't realise until I saw someone mentioned Code Red in a video the other day. I was reminded that I was supposed to have read that, so those are the ones that I did not get to. I did get to the rest. I'm working on reduced brain power today, so I'm just going to go through the books and I'll attach the prompts to the books instead of going through them in like alphabetical order or anything. Even though it is A to Z reading challenge, I'm just especially challenged today. So I read The Good House by Tananarive Due. I almost watched a movie called The Good House because I thought it was based on that book, and it definitely was not. It was some kind of romance, so thank God I didn't watch that. Good House, I felt, was obviously matched the gothic prompt because it is a very gothic haunted story, and it also matches the haunted prompt, but I also felt that it matched the folk horror because it takes into account a lot of voodoo and old sort of African traditional occult stuff, and also some indigenous Native American stuff. There's a mixture of those characters in this book. Absolutely fantastic book. I loved every minute of it. The ending, I don't know how to feel about the ending. Like I liked it, it was good, but I don't know if it was just a little too perfectly wrapped up. But in saying that, it was still a fantastic book. It follows the story of a woman whose grandmother has passed away recently, and she was the owner of this house on a hill that everyone in town called the Good House because of her grandmother's legacy in helping out the townspeople when there was a mudslide. She let everyone come to her house, and she also had these herbs that she grew in her garden that helped people out with sickness and stuff. So it was known as the Good House, and her granddaughter now owns the house, and unfortunately at a 4th of July gathering, her son commits suicide, unfortunately, but she quickly learns that it is a little bit more complicated than that, and there are other forces amassing now around the house and around the property now that her grandmother has gone, and it really does well in sort of going back and forth a little bit because you get to see the run up from her son's perspective to this party and stuff that's going on, and it's really layered. You get to see lots of different characters' perspectives and past and future, but it's very well handled and absolutely fantastic book. Loved it. The next one I read was Hay Bale by Priscilla Bettis, who is a great booktube community supporter. So this one I put in with Creepy Kid, and also I guess could it fit with folk horror a little bit too. There's a little bit of local myth and urban legendy kind of stuff, also psychological horror. This one is quite short. It was only 40 pages, but it follows a woman who has recently had some issues with fertility and not being able to conceive, and she is sort of on the fence about whether she should get back with her husband or not because they've had this rift between them. So she goes to this old little cabin in the middle of nowhere, and she happens to be a biologist as well, or biochemist. She happens to be a very smart person, and she gets there to try and clear her head, but unfortunately there's some eerie haunting things going around, and there is a hay bale on the property that because of her expertise she is concerned that it is rotting from the inside, and apparently, I didn't know this, but certain chemical reactions with bacteria and stuff can cause dry hay bales to just burst into flame, and because there's a bit of a drought happening at the minute, she's afraid that it could set the entire surrounding area on fire. But other people are telling her, don't touch the hay bale, you know, there's something weird going on here. So it's creepy, it's weird. She keeps hearing children outside, so that's where the creepy kid thing comes on. So very creepy, very weird. I really liked it, and yeah, I think it works best with the creepy kid and psychological prompts for this one. So the next one I read was Lucy by Alan Aspinall, which has been on my TBR for way too long, and I think this one works well with occult. Love the name, first of all. Alan is also a great picture supporter as well. So Lucy follows a serial killer as he grabs a girl off the street and tries to do his usual MO of locking this girl up in a basement and torturing her, as serial killers will do. But unfortunately this girl is not who he thinks she is. This is the first in a series of books, so I'm definitely going to read. Sorry, there's something happening with my hand right now. I'm definitely going to read the rest of the books as well, but so far this one, it was short, but it was very good, very creepy. There's psychological stuff. Yeah, I could go with the psych one as well, but definitely kind of occult, eerie weirdness. There's another layer to this, and it sort of ends on a cliffhanger that leads into the next book as well, so I'm very interested in that. Was that singing? Screaming? I don't know. I heard a weird noise. The next one I read, which I think was the first book I actually read for this, was Crawl by Edward Lorne, who is also a booktuber here. And I was absolutely dragged in by the synopsis, the blurb that I read. It's just creeped me out. It just had its hooks in me from the very beginning. It's also very short, and it follows a woman who is being driven by her cheating husband. I think they're married. He's driving her out to her mother's house, I believe, so that they can have some time apart. So of course, on this journey, you know, there's turmoil in her head and with them speaking to each other, because she hates him for what he's done, but she wants to try and make things work, but she hates the fact that he wants her to feel sorry for him and all these things. And unfortunately, they have a car accident and she finds herself in the woods with a couple of broken legs and has to crawl her way out of the situation. But there's something in the woods with her. Ooh. But if you actually read the actual synopsis, it's far more enticing. So that one I put with Monster, because there is something in the woods with her, and also I guess you could say there's another character in the book that is a monster as well in a lot of ways, so creepy. Next one that I read was Autumn Crow by Cameron Chaney, which is a set of short stories that all revolve around the same town called Autumn Crow. So this one I put with Supernatural because it could have fit with a lot of ones, I'm sure, but the entire expanse of Autumn Crow is just supernatural. It's a very much Halloween oriented town where everyone just kind of accepts that weird things happen, that ghosts are real and all these things are real, and honestly kind of want to live there. I'm not gonna lie, it sounds like my kind of place. But the writing was fantastic, the stories were great, I loved how they all linked up, and I also love the concept of just Autumn Crow and this creepy little town that the book does sort of dive into or alludes to the very origins of the town and how it was actually founded and who founded it. Now, I think it was the last story or the second last story actually talks about the founder of the town, and I was kind of hoping that it would go back and show how the town was founded. This isn't a great sentence for my accent, hoping maybe he might write that story in the future or include it in a future book of his or something. But still, all the stories were great and the atmosphere was great, and there's some really creepy things. There's witches and possessed pumpkin heads and mannequins and aliens. There's just a whole lot of stuff that is perfect for a Halloween read. It was great to read in October as well, so definitely recommend that one. And the next one and last one, I haven't finished this yet, but a book came out recently and I went to the book launch of it. It's called Where I End by Sophie White. Very cool cover, I believe. I like it. Oh, I've got some stuff stuck in there. But it is a brand new story, also published by Trump Press, which is a fantastic small press in Ireland. And Sophie White is a writer and a podcaster. I never shut up about the Creep Dive, which is a podcast I love. And this is her first sort of creepy book. She's done literary fiction books before, but this one so far is definitely freaking me out, I'm gonna be honest. It follows a younger, well, I think she might have just turned 20, and her name is Aileen, and she lives on a tiny little island off the coast of Ireland. Side note, what is Irish writers' obsession with writing stories on even smaller, creepier islands. We already live in a small, creepy island, but when we write stories, we write about smaller, creepier islands off the coast of our island. It's very odd. But this follows a girl, I think she's just turned 20. She is an outcast by everyone on this tiny little island, even her grandmother who she lives with, and her and her grandmother have to look after her mother who's completely bedbound, completely paralyzed. She can't speak, can't move, can't do anything, except in the middle of the night sometimes they find her either at the front door or outside the front door, but nobody ever sees her move. Very weird. And as she has just turned 20, she's starting to question the life that she has led up to this point. She's starting to wonder how her mother got in this state. She goes between feeling sorry for her and just hating her for the things that she has to do to take care of her. And we find out that the entire populace of the island hate her specifically, and they sort of see her as a curse. If she touches them or gets near them, they bless themselves, or they spit in the ground or spit on her and do other horrible things. But a brand new person comes to the island with her baby. She's an artist, and she has been given an artist retreat to come to the island and stay in this house and make some paintings for show there. And she stumbles upon Aileen and they become friends, and she has no idea what the other villagers think of Aileen, and Aileen wants to tell her. She kind of feels bad. She doesn't want to curse this woman like everyone thinks she's going to curse her, but she's also sort of obsessed with this brand new person, this person who's so unlike anyone she's ever met. So far it's creeping me the flip out. It's gross and weird. I've been reading it at work, and there'll just be a section where she's describing the rocks and the hills of the island, and then there'll just be one sentence that absolutely breaks your heart, or like just melts your mind, and then carries on, and you have to sort of sit back and go, hang on, did you just say what I think you said? So creepy so far. Very strange things are happening. I'm about halfway through. Again, this is only about 200 pages, so I will finish this week. I've put this in the psychological so far, because there's definitely something weird going on with this island. I want to know what happened to her mother. I want to know how she got to be in that situation. I want to know why specifically they don't like her. Like, she was born on the island, but why don't they like her? What did she do, or how did she come to be? Like, there's something strange going on. So definitely check this one out if you're interested in weird, creepy islands. That is my recap of the reading challenge. Thank you so much for John for putting that together. I definitely read more than I would have without it, and I will be getting to the books I haven't read, definitely the shorter ones this week. And The Stand, I'll update you as I go along with that one. Maybe I'll get it done by the end of the year, hopefully. It's a very long book. So thank you so much for watching. I shall be back very soon with my 500 subscriber special, and I really appreciate everyone who has commented or subscribed or anything in the last while. I also have a couple of videos that I wasn't able to make during October that I still have put up this month, so I'm excited to do those when I'm feeling slightly better. So thank you so much for watching. I shall see you in the next video.